Blessings Booktube. Welcome to part 3 of the 6 perfections or paramitas tag. In part 1, I explain what the paramitas are to the bodhisattvas. And in part 2, I refer to the first paramita, which is the paramita of generosity, and the African library we founded in Peace Corps. And for that, I recommend reading Borges' Labyrinths or any of his short stories. He was the national librarian of Argentina. And I'm here at the mortuary chapel of the second temple that I wanted to show you with the Chinese influences, Sri Sridaram Temple. At here, I believe is the mortuary chapel. You can hear the monks chanting in the back. And this is for the second paramita of ethical discipline, which means my habits, my reading habits. Luckily, I grew up reading classics. We had those children versions. They were abridged, certainly, and I'm sure some of the language was adjusted as well, but they told us the story and got us in love with those classics. And I encourage everyone to get the kids reading classics from the go. I also read in different languages since I loved languages since I first encountered them as a young child traveling in Europe. And I learned French and Spanish in high school and went on to study them in college. And so I was also lucky in having a good base in classics and as well as diverse. Then at one point I set myself the task to read all the Nobels. And also in that I studied literature, I also read literary criticism. So I was really lucky to have a bunch of really good reading habits. Years later, I met a friend who went to film school and told me that while I read the classics, the movies I watched were very much escapist, shall we say, and therefore hadn't tried to watch the classics. And I agreed with him, and I went on to watch the Criterion collection of film, and can't recommend much better for film as well. And at one point, I hope to do a series on Criterion Films adaptations of great literary works. I'm going to move over and show you something else for the third paramita here. Here we are on the canal as the noisy boat goes by the bell tower to talk about the third paramitas. This is one of my all-time favorite shrines as she squeezes out the waters of the world from her hair. This is the back of the giant Buddha we'll see in a minute. So the third paramitas is the paramita of patience. And for this one, I think I'd talk about the difficulties I had finding all the old Nobels. The newer Nobel writers, their works go crazy and are easier and easier to find. But the older works are hard to find, and I need to basically get to an academic library to find them. And so sometimes at UNM, when I'm at my mom's, I can go and consult them there. So that's something I've been very patient about. I remember reading Mireo by Mistral, I think at Connecticut College. Now, you usually can't take the books out, but at least you can read them there in the library. And here we are at Kuan Yin. So for Kuan Yin, and another thing that I got to be patient about as we're here with Kuan Yin, the goddess of mercy, Avalokiteshvara is one of the other forms for her. Oh, look at the beautiful ceiling paintings. So this obviously is a very Chinese influenced temple. As many of those here on the Thonburi side were. So the scriptures, we don't read them, even though they're one of the main influences on literature and society. in secular states education, at least, we don't read the scriptures. So it wasn't until seminary that I really got to read. I did read in college a Penguin collection of world scriptures. I remember discovering the Guru Adi Granth, some Zoroastrian dualism, some of the ancient Puranas of Hinduism. What else was in there? Some great stuff, but it wasn't really till um, I went to seminary pretty much in order to fill that gap. So there was another patience. So what I wanted to talk about with Kuan Yin was the pyramid of joyful effort. And here we have the question is something hard to complete. And this, I would say, is pretty much all of my philosophical readings. I have suffered through being in nothingness and, the German idealists and, you name it, of continental philosophy. I've read a lot, and it is rewarding, but not my cup of tea. And so, what I would say, what gave me the most joyful return was my readings in French and Spanish. As they got better and better, I got more and more out of the literature. What also was a big effort to read was when I was in Korea and only had access to business books to read in English. Those did not yield very much. They were not very rewarding. So I'm going to say goodbye for a minute and move on to a next spot for the fifth and next to last paramita. Here's the many-faced Vishnu with the many arms and his many attributes. The conch shell is a giveaway. So I'm going to go away from the chanting, but I wanted to show you the big Buddha here. And this is the paramita of concentration. This one is about environment, or being in this zone, reading zone. I do like to read in public. I can read anywhere. I'm blessed that way. And I'm going to walk you through the river to the back of the temple here while we talk about concentration, multitasking more than I should probably. And yes, I like to read in cafes. Here goes another boat, a little bit noisy. Sorry about that. The canal. This is the Bang Noi Canal, very near my home. We're here at the Metro Bang Kun Non. You can see a begging bowl. The robe and the begging bowl, that's all you get is a... Ooh, almost fell over. As a monk. Okay. We have another fun shrine. So I like to read in cafes. Except that, here's a big old Buddha, happy Buddha. Except that, nowadays the soundtrack and everybody's phone's noises is putting me off. I like a non-lyrical, jazz or ambient music soundtrack, quiet background volume. These are the ovens. It's very Chinese. Preferably in a student zone full of kids, young, excited, full of life, open all night. That's probably my happy place. I'm gonna just close off while I go to the back corner, walk you out of the temple for the last paramitas. For the paramitas of wisdom, here we are in the very back corner of the Wat. No corner is neglected. Shrines and temples and chapels everywhere. Beautiful flowers by the canal. For wisdom, what have I learned? Well, I was thinking that, I ought to pick a book, even if it is Mahayana Buddhist instead of Theravadan, to recommend you. And Zen Bones is excellent story collection. But what I really would like to recommend, the one that really turned me on to the way, and here's our kitty, is the um, Zen Mind Beginner's Mind by D.T. Suzuki. This is a work that really starts at the basics and breaks things down in a really easy way and shows that where we're coming from, if we're just starting on this path, or even like me, if I'm continually starting and starting over and going down dead ends like that, um, that beginner's mind is a blessing, not a problem. It's a place from which you can gotta wade through a puddle here. Um, learn a lot. And here we have the main temple. There's the Praja. There's the condo that's being built that cut me off between these two temples when I tried to walk here through the by the canal. So beautiful Chinese doors. Another beautiful Buddha over here. There's a nice little chapel. You can go in and have some quiet contemplative time. I won't take you inside because I think it looks like they're having construction, as you can see. But you can see the doors are amazing. And I'll just walk you out to the gate. And I forgot to recommend books for the others in between, didn't I? So between Borges and Zen Mind Beginner's Mind, I'll recommend for ethical discipline and habits, as I say, illustrated classics, bridged classics, cartoon classics, graphic novel classics, all different adaptations of the classics, whatever gets you reading them. For patience, I think I can recommend, why not Khalil Gibran? Sorry, that one's a little bit dark. I don't think you'll get it. He speaks on just about every subject under the sun, so I bet he has a nice poetic something to say about patience. For joyful effort, for pure joy, Calvin and Hobbes. Have a laugh. Here's our Wat, as I mentioned. I don't know if you can quite read that. Wat Sri Surdaram is a third-grade royal temple of Warawiran. It's an ancient temple built before the Rattanakosin period, and its former name was Wat Chipa Khao. In the reign of King Rama I, who was the first Chakri, when they moved the capital across the river to Bangkok. I'm on the Thonburi side when we first fled Ayutthaya, when the Burmese sacked it, and we were here under King Taksin on this side. And the temple was recreated as Samdet Chaufa Krompra Sri Sudarak, the elder sister of King Rama I. In the reign of Rama IV, the temple was restored and a new Pra Ubasot was constructed to replace the old one. And the king named the new temple as Wat Sri Sudaram. They all have 50 names because they've been renamed 3 times. They got, names that the locals call them by. The temple was a place where Sutornpu, the world poet, studied in his childhood. Sutornpu was the person who wrote the wonderful fairy tale Pra Apumani with the sea monsters and giants, and just an amazing one that I'll definitely be doing a video about. And he studied here in his childhood. And the important edifices in the temple are a Sala Kanparian, which was built in the Ayutthaya period, and is still in good condition, and the casting Buddha image of Prabuddha Charto. In addition, there's a Wang Macha, or fish area in front of the temple, where 1,000 fish live there. Sorry, I'm not going to go pay the fish again. I mean, I'm happy to pay, but I don't want to take the time. I don't know if I want to face them again, to be honest with you, because I came here just last week and filmed all this, and it didn't come out, so I'm back here doing it again. But anyway, there is an area for feeding the fish. You'll often find something like that in the Watts. They have all kinds of stray animals, feed the turtles, whatever it might be. All right, so here they have a school, big old school. So I mentioned in my part 1, I think, about all the wonderful roles that the Wat plays in Thai society. Senior center, orphanage, you name it. And then, of course, we also have all of these great little characters all around that people love going around and finding. And some of the Watts have, like, Superman or Beckham, or some have horrible, like, hellscapes. That could be fun to check out. This one's fun, cute. It's got a little bunny rabbit guy there. All right. So, yeah, that's the 6 paramitas. I hope you enjoyed. I hope this video comes out better. The sound and light. It's tough. I'm not technical with these kinds of things. Just want to show you the gate to the main road. When you see a gate like this, you can see all the way down the end there. That's where you know that there's a temple down that way. Thank you for listening, and Buddhist blessings to you all.